Peace, y'all. This is Malls. This is gonna be my first in a series of videos where I break down some of my songs from my new album, Famous Last Words. Give you the history behind the songs, what went into creating it. Maybe not so much lyric breakdowns, but I'm sure they'll be in there too. The first song we're gonna do is I guess I'm gonna do it. I'm the only one here, I think.
Picture this, dirt roads, play clothes and skint elbows, coming inside smelling like...
So the first song I am going to do is going to be the first single that I released from the album Famous Last Words, called Native Sunshine. It was the third song I wrote for the album. I wrote it in October 2019. And, you know, when I heard that beat, like it was in, I believe, the first batch of beats that Drugs sent to me. And when I heard the beat, I was like, okay, this is definitely going on the album. I don't know what this album is going to be yet, but this is definitely going on it. When I heard it, it just made me think about growing up. And initially I wanted to write the song about growing up, but I didn't want to make one of those back in the day songs. Because I feel like Ahmad pretty much wrote the book on back in the day songs. And, you know, I'm not going to try to reinvent the wheel. So I started it out just writing about, you know, thinking that I was going to write about just how I grew up, but it kind of turned into a song about the town that I grew up in, because it's kind of hard for me, at least, to talk about how I grew up without giving you context. But because I'm from such a small town, it kind of created nearly everything that is me. The first line in the song, you know, picture this, play clothes, dirt roads, and skint elbows, that actually came from the Golden Girls. You know, Sophia Petrillo, whenever she would tell a story, she'd start out, picture Sicily, 1932, or whatever. So that was just me conjuring up Sophia Petrillo from the Golden Girls. So that's kind of what started it, you know, is I immediately went there in storytelling mode. Part of me growing up, you know, so much of my formative years, my childhood and adolescence and, you know, mid to late adolescence was spent outside, because it is a small town. And obviously I'm an 80s baby, you know, all the gray. So there wasn't internet like that. You know, people didn't really have internet till I was in high school. And even then, you know, it was the people who made a lot more money than we did growing up that had it. And it's also a town where there wasn't cable TV. And if you didn't have satellite, which was hella expensive back then, you know, like, you know, we didn't have satellite growing up. We only had like 6 channels and maybe 3 of them would come in. So TV really wasn't a big thing for me. So it was outside, and my cousins and I playing basketball was our thing, you know, sports in general, but really it was basketball. So that was just kind of me setting up that first verse of just, you know, I mentioned my cousin Mustafa, we called him Mumu. You know, we just played 21 all day long, you know, on a dirt court, you know, kicking up crazy dust, just getting super dirty from playing basketball, dirtier than you would normally get from playing a game of basketball, because you just got dirt and dust flying everywhere. So, you know, so this is the second verse, is when I start talking about my town and you know, my environment, world building. So it's a small agricultural town, as most towns in eastern, especially northeastern North Carolina are. So working in tobacco fields was, I don't want to really say a rite of passage, but it was something that most of the kids did, you know, when I was growing up. Quick story, I worked in the tobacco fields one day, half a day. I decided one summer that I was going to work in tobacco fields because I wanted some extra money so I could get stuff. And I remember I had to wake up super early in the morning. I don't know if it was 6 or 7 o'clock. I know it was summertime and I won't normally going to be up that early. So it was hella early to me. And the truck comes by your house. Everyone piles into the back of the truck and we all go off into the, wherever the tobacco field is, wherever the landowner's field is. So we go to the tobacco field, and what we had to do was, set up the, stalks of tobacco. It's not really my thing. Set up the stalks of tobacco so that they're standing up straight and take the little flowers off the top. So it's a whole bunch of people of all ages just going down rows, in this field doing this. And, we're doing this for maybe like 45 minutes to an hour years ago. So I don't remember the exact, amount of time we were on. And I'm like, man, whew. So truck comes back and we all jump back in the truck. And I'm thinking the day is done. I'm like, okay. It's out here like an hour, 45 minutes, something like that. It's not too bad. I could do that. And the truck comes back and we all pile into the back of the truck, go down the path, go down the road. And I'm thinking we're gonna, drop people back off. Day's done. Nope. We go down another path into a bigger field, a field like twice the size of the one that we just did. And I'm like, oh my God, okay, there's more, fuck. So again, going down the rows, setting up the tobacco straight, taking the little flowers off the top. And this is where like I start to overthink. And, for some reason, the landowner, the person who owned that farm or that field, came back in the truck. And then, kids are playing because it's summer or whatever and being kids. And, one of the older guys is like, all right, now Mr. So-and-so's back. Y'all going down your road now. Stop playing. And I just couldn't help but think. I was like, man, I know we getting paid, but shit feel like slavery, dog. Like, I ain't with this. So we finished that field, and it's about noon. So we all hop back in the truck, and we're gonna go to lunch. And, there's only one little area in town where we can get, food and stuff from. So we go to the store, and, people get out and they buy their, their little drinks and they buy their nabs. For those of you who are not from the country and don't know, nabs are like those little sandwich crackers that come like 3 or 6 to a pack, the Lance crackers. That's what a nab is. So while everyone was out doing that, I'm like, man, I'm gonna walk the fuck home. So I walked the fuck home. It was just a mile. I was just a mile away from my house. So I just walked home and that was it. Never again. My first job. Fuck it. Nope. I'm done. So yeah, man, it was something that, a lot of kids did, was working in tobacco. Again, it's a small town. There's not much light pollution. So one of my favorite things growing up as a kid and also to this day is whenever I'm back there, I love to just look up in the night sky, and on a clear night, it seems like you can see every single star in the galaxy. It's amazing. And it makes you feel so small, and it's just amazing to me. So I definitely had to, have that line of, you don't know how dark night gets far from city lights, because that's still one of my favorite things about being way out in the country, far from civilization. And the way a lot of small towns were growing up, it's not a dangerous town. Like even now, today, you can pretty much leave your doors unlocked all day and be cool. Because it's a small town, there's not too many people, and everyone, for the most part, kind of knows each other anyway. But also, because everyone also knows each other and it's a small town, if anything does happen, everybody knows in a split second, when the shit goes down, you'd be surprised how fast the news go. You know, people, there ain't no secrets out in the country like that. This second verse is also where I came up with the name of the song. And in my creation process, like, I'm terrible, notoriously terrible with naming songs. So the line, you know, Harrowsville's Richard Wright, native son, rising like the sunshine, you know. For those who don't know, Native Son is a book by author Richard Wright. Very good book. And I was like, that kind of fits. I like it. Native sunshine, because they're saying sunshine in the chorus. Simple. So the third verse, you know, me being a rap nerd that I am, and you know, baby hip hop historian, you know, in rap and in hip hop culture in general, it's very important to represent where you're from. You know, we all know that Big L is from, you know, 139 in Lenox in Harlem. You know, we know that, you know, the streets and the neighborhoods that people come from, the name of the projects or whatever. So I just wanted to name out the streets, you know, in Harrisville. I'm from 561. It's Highway 561. There's Highway 45, Swains Mill Road, Quebec Road, which, you know, as I got older, I realized that, like, we being the residents, you know, former and current of Harrisville, we're probably saying that wrong. But that's how we pronounce it, Quebec Road. Pretty sure it's Quebec. But, you know, so I just decided to shout out the streets, the roads, you know, that we all grew up on and all used to ride our bikes up and down and walk and run and whatever. You know, my grandmother was very, you know, big in helping my mom raise me, and my brother. So she was really protective of me. I was the baby boy. I was the youngest. So, you know, no harm could come to a single hair on my head. She would hate when I would stay out past dark playing basketball with my friends and my cousins. And she would go so far as to call around to everyone's house, like, hey, is Jay over there? Tell him it's time to come home. And, you know, most times I didn't come home right away. You know, I came home when I got done playing, you know. So I definitely had to put that in there because, you know, if you were in my crew growing up, you know, your house got that call, you know, once it started to get dark. And it's like, you know, tell Jay to come home, you know. So that was just, you know, a little part of extra personal part of, you know, me putting that in the song. With Harrisville being, you know, an agricultural town, as most of Eastern North Carolina and specifically Northeastern North Carolina, I don't know why I just pointed over there. Northeastern North Carolina is really agricultural, lots of fields, you know, tobacco, corn, cotton, peanuts, whatever. So just, you're gonna get stuck behind a tractor driving wherever you're going. But because it's so small and it's not a lot of traffic, you know, it's not gonna cause a traffic jam. You know, they just get to a place where they can kind of ease on over to the side of the road. You go around them. It's just a part of the, you know, just part of living there. And, you know, if you've seen the video for Native Sunshine, you saw the very first shot was a drone shot, you know, showing, you know, showing the trees, and the house that I grew up in. And there's also another shot a little later on in the video where you just see just so many trees. And, you know, I had to me, that's a big part of what Harrisville is. Treetops trace the skyline, but never did they block out the sunshine. Back then as a kid, you know, it's like, man, I'm so bored. You know, I hate it here. There's nothing here but trees, you know. But of course, you know, looking back on nostalgia with rose-colored glasses as an adult, wasn't that bad, you know. It's like, man, trees, that shit was beautiful, you know. So that's how I ended that third verse. Into the fourth verse, you know, when I write, I like to do it like a paper, have a beginning, middle, and end, you know, your introduction, the body, and then the conclusion where I summarize. So this was my summary part. Basically just saying that, you know, I don't go home much to the chagrin of my mom, but, you know, I always carry Harrisville and North Carolina in general with me wherever I go. You know, I've lived out of state, and it's just a part of me. And I really believe that growing up in a small town, rural town, with, not much around, for people to do, and where we couldn't, we didn't have TV like that. We got like 6 channels, maybe, of basic regular TV, free TV. And maybe 3 of those came in, we got good reception on maybe 3 of those. So TV was never a big part of me growing up, and still isn't a big part of me functioning as an adult. Like, I can go days without turning on my TV. And being that the town is so isolated, I'm a big introvert and don't really care to socialize like that for the most part. And I'm pretty sure, had I grown up in a more populated area, with cable at least, those 2 things probably wouldn't be to the degree that they are. I'd probably be a lot more into TV. I would probably be a lot more social in general, and less. I'm not gonna say I wouldn't be an introvert, but I'd probably be less of an introvert than I am now. So I carry the town with me. I carry North Carolina with me, and it's a part of me. And how I grew up, it influences a lot of the things that I do now as an adult. It's just where I get my work ethic from. Like, there's a couple of notable folks that came from where I come from, and it's people like to say I got it out the mud. Like, we really did. We didn't really have much around us. Shout out to everyone that I grew up with, that all my cousins and my friends, and maybe my not quite friends, that came out and made something of themselves, man. And something that happened after I released the video that I really didn't expect was the response to it. Obviously it's a personal song to me, so it meant a lot to me, and I immediately knew that this song was big for me, on a personal level. I'd written a lot of songs about where I come from, but nothing as in-depth as this song. But something I didn't expect was, after I released the video, hearing feedback from so many people that I grew up with, so many people that remember me from when I was a baby that I may or may not even remember, that have reached out to me or reached out to my family to tell me like how much that song and that video meant to them. Because they would say, like, I never would think that anyone would make a song about where we came from, our tiny little town. And just the appreciation that they showed is incredible. And it's not even just the people that grew up in my town or even the whole Hertford County. It's people that grew up in small towns in general, in the state of North Carolina, or even just across the country, that have reached out to me. It's like, yo, man, like, that is exactly how I grew up too. Like, I'm from the country. There was nothing there. I could totally relate. And hearing all that feedback and people telling me how much that song meant to them, like, it's humbling, and it's amazing. And I never would have guessed that this song would make people feel those things. I just kind of wrote it for me, really. So I'm super grateful for everyone that has watched the video, that has listened to the album, that has reached out to me, telling me how much that song meant to them. Super grateful, super humbled, and thankful for all you guys. It really means a lot to me. Yeah, man, so that's it, man. This is the video breakdown for Native Sunshine off my album, Famous Last Words. You can watch the video for Native Sunshine on my YouTube channel. Go ahead and check that out, like and subscribe. Put your friends on, and if you've already done so, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Famous Last Words, the album, is out everywhere. Wherever you get music, it's there. All streaming platforms. I do have physical copies, CDs, available on my Bandcamp. I'll put the link in the description. It's produced entirely by Drugs Beats. Thank you so much to Drugs Beats for helping me make this. It features my brother Precise Politics and Sharp Cuts. Thank you guys so much for being a part of it. Also features my brother Eternal the MC. Thank you, my man, for being a part of it. Thank you guys, all of y'all, for your talent, your patience, and just being, down to work with me. Thank you to everybody who's listened to it, who's bought it, put their homie on, played it, whatever you're doing, man. I appreciate it. I'm so thankful and humbled, and it's awesome. So again, man, this is the first video down. They will get better. But it's Maul signing out, y'all. Peace.
Found our way out the mud, native son basking in the 252. It's for Harrowsville, man.